VS sequence versus VSDTC, the mistake that can break your ADaM analysis. Number 1, are records still duplicates even after using VS sequence? No, they are not duplicates in SDTM if VS sequence is used correctly. Why? In SDTM, the uniqueness of the record is generally defined by study ID, unique subject ID and VS sequence. Now, even if all these variables called as VS test code, VS DTC and the VS original results value, they are same, but they are having different VS sequence values which make them distinct records. Now, the key point here is SDTM is a study data tabulation model and it is not an analysis model. So whatever data that is collected into the raw data, the same has to be presented in the SDTM dataset, irrespective of these repeated measurements, even if they appear same or identical structurally. So all the unscheduled, scheduled and whatever data that is entered repeated, so those everything has to be entered in SDTM. Now, so even if you have the VS test code is same, the VS DTC is also same, the value is also same, that does not mean that these are duplicate records, right? If VS sequence differs, then they are valid repeated observations, but they are not duplicate records. Number 2, should VSDTC include date plus time? Yes, absolutely, whenever available. Now, VSDTC supports ISO 8601 format, which is the accepted format, especially in your CDIS guidelines, right? So, whenever you collect the data, in some records, you will find only date only, like say specific year, month and date. In some records, you will see date and time, right? So why does the time matter? It time matters because if you have any multiple measurements on the same day, same test, for say example systolic BP, you can make the difference, you can identify, right? That is why the time matters. Now here it is, key points here is without time records look identical, which creates uncertainty. Ambiguity is nothing but uncertainty. It creates a question mark as to whether they are same or not. Now, if you have the time records, the data looks naturally, which is chronologically ordered, and it is very easy to derive in ADaM whenever you use the time points like ADT or ADTM. So whatever time points that you use while doing the analysis, it becomes quite easy to derive. So even if the time is present, VS sequence is still required and VSDTC does not replace VS sequence. Number 3, should VS sequence from CRF be derived in ADaM? No, not directly for analysis. Why? VS sequence is a technically identifier, right? It reflects the data collection order, not the analytical reference. Now remember one thing, there is a difference between the data collection order and the analytical order. So whatever the sequence in which the data was collected, that same has to be entered in raw data, the same it should be reflected in SDTM, but it is not mandatory that the same collection order should be seen in the analysis data sets, which is ADaM. So in that situation, the key points here is in ADaM we generally take care on analysis time points, baseline flag, whether those are worst, maximum, minimum values and the visit windows. So don't use VS sequence from CRF blindly in analysis dataset ADaM. You should generally derive the sequence the way you want in the analytical reference point, especially in the ADaM datasets. This you will see in almost all the structures, whether it's ADAE or BDS structure or ADSL. So whichever the time points which is there, you should use like that. Number 4, should VS sequence be derived in ADaM using VSDTC? Yes. If sequences is needed, it should be derived and it should not be used blindly either from CRF, raw data or SDTM. Like I said, the collection order should be same the way it was collected in CRF, that same order should be seen in raw data and SDTM, but it is not mandatory that the same collection order should be seen in ADaM datasets, because ADaM datasets are nothing but the analysis related datasets. So the best practice here is, in ADaM we generally create our own analysis ordering. Ordering is very important, especially when you are dealing with the unscheduled, scheduled visits, the repeated measurements, and even if there is a slight difference, it matters a lot. So the first thing is, we derived ADT, which is the analysis date, from VSDTC. We extract the date part. The second is, we derived the AE sequence analysis. Now this is generally based on the time point, like the ADTPT. If it is a PKPD kind of analysis, you will see the time point, and generally also the visit window rules. Now the visit window rules you will generally see in the unscheduled visits. So whenever there are any unscheduled visits, if you want to map to that specific visit, then in those scenarios the visit rules apply. So your A sequence is based generally on these three parameters. Number 5, practical scenarios. Now say for scenario A, we have the same date and no time. So I have a VS test code which is systolic BP. The date is same here, right? The values are also same, but the sequence is different. Hence, these are not duplicate records, but analytically ambiguous. That means when we do the analysis, it becomes uncertainty, it becomes a question mark. So when somebody does the analysis, they feel that these are duplicates, but it is not duplicate. When you merge these records with, say for example, ADMH or AD AE or AD labs or some other domain which are reflecting this specific date wise, you will see that there is a difference in that. That's why it is being shown, but these are not a duplicates. Now scenario B is, say for example, the date and time is available. So the test code is systolic BP. Now VSDTC, the time is available. So date is same, but the time is different. So VS sequence order is 1 and 2, whichever is the earlier time, and the next time goes to 2. So clear ordering is present, and which reflects better for ADaM derivations. Number 6, final recommendation, generally the best practice that is used in the industry. In SDTM, always include VS sequence. As it is collected in CRF, the same should reflect in raw data, and from the same should reflect in the SDTM datasets. Populate VSDTC if time is available. Now for some records you will see the time is not available. For some records the time is available. So populate whatever that is available and keep it in the SDTM datasets. Now do not remove apparent duplicates. Like I said, if the test code is same, the date is same, the value is same, that does not mean those are duplicates, but the VS sequence is different. So in those scenarios, these are not our apparent duplicates. So you keep it as it is. Maybe as and when you do the analysis, when you go in further detailed analysis, dig into the detailed analysis, when you come into the safety parameters, then you might understand as to why the VS sequence is different. So in ADaM datasets, we generally don't rely on VS sequence for analysis logic, right? So it's better, the best practice is to derive the sequence in the ADaM datasets and not rely on the SDTM VS sequence variable. Now we generally derive ADT and ATM from VS DTC. Now VS DTC is nothing but the part of the date and time character variable from the SDTM that we try to capture the date in ADT and try to capture the time part in ATM in the ADaM datasets, right? A sequence is generally based on analysis rules that I explained in the earlier slide, and you need to handle the multiplicity using predefined statistic rules, for example last observation, mean or worst situation, in case if your clinical trial suggests using these rules. Conclusion: VS sequence ensures record uniqueness in SDTM, but VS DTC with time enables meaningful analysis in ADaM. And ADaM should derive its own sequence, that is A sequence, based on analysis needs and not inherit SDTM sequence VS sequence blindly. Many thanks for watching my video and happy learning. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a feedback comment. Many thanks for your support and having great connection.